we were under the impression the hot water tank was rented because that's what the MLS listing said. And we got to the offer, we put hot water tank as a rental. That's what the MLS listing said. And then they added AC and furnace after that. So it's like a little, like
just a little,
kind of like sneaking in there a little bit, right? You got to ask the questions, right? You have to ask the questions.
The right questions.
In turn, we ended up getting almost 10 grand off the property price because of it. But at the same time, diligence. That's all it is, right?
It
diligence.
happens, and you got to stay on top of it. It's our responsibility to be on it, right? That's why we ask those questions.
We were able to negotiate a deal that worked for everybody at the end of it. But again, it's a hiccup that you don't want to run into, especially when you're negotiating on a property for thousands and thousands of dollars. You don't want to run into those hiccups ever. Welcome back, everybody, to episode 11 of the Bottom Line Podcast. Thank you for tuning in, as always. I'm here with, as always, Mike from Remax.
Ciao.
And I'm here with Tony from Sherwood Mortgage Group.
Good evening.
How are you gentlemen doing today?
All is well, my friend.
Good.
How about you?
Very good.
Yeah, I'm great.
You doing well?
Yeah. Weather's beautiful.
Sun is shining.
Market's looking good. Yeah, everything's great.
Everything's
great.
bueno.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
You,
Mike, how you doing?
Great. I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Just finished my tryout in Miami.
I was going to say, is that who's
you got in the back?
Can we do that?
Oh, the term. We can see it. You can't see it.
Can't really see it, but it's
a good old
07 too.
He used to bend it, no?
Used to bend it like
Beckham.
I
was going to say, if you had Messi on the back, you should have a bodyguard beside you, right? Like Messi's bodyguard.
Right, storm in if anyone.
You ever seen that guy work out? Have you ever seen a workout video of Messi's bodyguard?
I see him in action. Never mind the workout. The guy,
go see him.
That guy probably runs a 40 in 3 seconds.
I saw him do a kickboxing little segment with somebody. I thought he was going to kill the guy. He had pads on too. I thought he was going to kill him.
So he was like a ex-special service or something.
Something. Yeah, he was in the military, I think.
Military.
Right? Yeah.
Pretty cool. Leo, you got to protect Leo.
Yeah. I don't
the GOAT.
Ronaldo doesn't have
the GOAT,
a bodyguard.
No,
like that,
not in Dubai.
The GOAT? Yeah.
The GOAT?
Unfortunately,
Messi?
You have to say...
Here we go.
You have to say it.
Messi or Ronaldo?
Yeah, no. After the cup, you got to give it to him. That was a difference maker.
Yeah, you have
100%.
to. What do you think?
I've always been of the it's simple. Athlete, Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Right. He is a specimen. He is an anomaly.
Yep.
Right. But best soccer player.
Yeah.
Simple.
And when we talk GOAT, you're talking the GOAT of soccer.
Yeah, the greatest soccer player of all time.
You gotta go with Leo.
Leo Messi. Leonardo.
Before you used to
Leonardo Messi. Lionel Messi.
Anyways, let's switch gears.
Switch gears.
Today we're going to be chatting about the buying culture in the GTA and what that looks like for a lot of buyers in the GTA. We're also going to chat about questions that you should be asking your mortgage broker, questions you should be asking your realtor if you're buying or selling, and questions that they should be asking on behalf of you if you're buying or selling, and as well mortgage brokers that they should be asking on behalf of you as well. So it's going to be all things related to good practices essentially in the industry, because there's a lot, let's face it, there's a lot of buyers and sellers. You don't do this every day, right? This is sometimes it's a once in a lifetime thing, and you might not have all the answers to the proper questions that you should be asking your realtor or your mortgage broker. So we're going to touch on that. And I think we have a fun-filled and information-filled episode ready to go.
A couple stories ready to go.
A couple of stories, maybe a red flag.
No, we got to do a red flag. That's become a staple in the bottom.
We get a lot of good feedback from our viewers on the red flags. A lot of the red flags are actually from them.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. It's
the comments that
it's people's red flags.
Yeah.
You're the people's champ.
Exactly.
The final boss.
Before you
switched
the shoes.
You had it.
You had the rock shoes before.
Last episode.
You're still the people's realtor.
Thank you.
The people's realtor.
People's realtor.
The final boss.
The final boss.
Okay, so Mike, I'm gonna jump right into you. Buyers culture in the GTA. We do see different strategies when sellers list their property. What do buyers think about that?
Yeah, so based on, we have been doing this for too long, 1 or 2 years.
Yeah,
no, but we've seen, I personally think that the offer dates, the lower prices is what attracts the buyers more than a property that's, for say, like priced fairly and priced to sell, basically. Why? I don't know. I think it's the culture here is like you you want to know you're buying something that somebody else wants.
It's like the
It
fear of
makes you,
FOMO.
yeah. It's like, yeah, you want to have like the confidence that like I'm doing something right because you want it as well. And
Okay.
let's get into it.
So just
Let's-
to clarify, here we're speaking about the market in the GTA.
Yeah,
Right?
specifically
The GTA
GTA. I'm not talking
market
about other
is
markets.
very much centered around people buying on the premise or on the idea with the idea that they're getting something that somebody else wanted,
Wants.
and that means it must have value, and therefore
Correct.
I'm willing to engage in this war,
Mhm.
right, and buy this thing, right,
Regardless
Whatever.
of
of
the
what
rates
it's
being
actually.
2% or 7%, buyer's market, seller's market. That's what I've noticed. It's really like if I'm going to put in an offer, I want to know that someone else is coming to the table, because it's like, oh, okay, wow, yeah, I'm doing something right here by offering this much for this house. If
Mhm.
someone's
Yeah.
willing to put in the same amount, and then when the agent reports back saying that you guys have a similar offer, now it's like, okay, now I can,
Somebody's thinking like me.
yeah,
Type of
let's
thing.
put another 10 grand, let's put
Mhm.
another 20 grand.
Yeah.
Let's
And
go.
that's the norm, is
Slippery
essentially,
slope.
that's the expectation,
Yeah.
I guess, that if it's a good product, there's going to be multiple offers.
I guess every situation is unique. I would say it's not always the case.
It's not always, yeah.
But if things are priced very well, it can happen, right? And
So-
what I would ask is, why do you think that is, though? Because like it's not like that everywhere. It's definitely not like that in other major cities. Some places there is, instances that happens. But why do you think in Toronto or even in the GTA, the realtors or a lot of realtors and home buyers or home sellers, I should say, find the need to list low and host those offer dates, bidding wars, all that stuff? Do you think you have like a reason as to why our culture thinks like this?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of reasons. I think one of them is sometimes the lack of knowledge on the agent's part and the client, not knowing what the house is worth.
Yeah,
Right.
we see that often.
And like I get it, a bidding war, you have a house listed for 999 and it sells for 150K over asking. That's okay. I can understand that.
Yeah,
But when you list at 699, 599, and you're selling for like 1.2, it's like you really had no idea what your house is worth.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens.
more often than not. Yeah. And the best part is when you call and you ask for a little bit of guidance of what their clients are, what comparables are they working with? And maybe their comparables are different than the comparables that you're pulling up for your client. And maybe their thoughts are a little bit different than your thoughts, which is totally fine. But when there's no communication, right, with the realtor, the buying and the selling realtor, it kind of throws a disconnect in the negotiations. And oftentimes the buyer will just say, well, I have no idea what these guys are going to accept or even consider. So they might just get turned off by it and just say, hey, you know what? Let's move on.
How often does something like that happen where your comparables and his comparables as the buyer and the seller are different? How could that even like occur?
It'll happen more in like the rural areas, but
Okay,
in subdivisions, like
it's tough for that.
It actually still occurs though.
Yeah.
It occurs where this is kind of my red flag. Let's just jump into the red flag now.
Go.
Jump
Go
into
for
the
it.
red
Red
flag.
Wow.
This early red
Off
flag.
the hop.
Early.
First period.
First flag.
It happens.
Checkered flag.
This is actually a recent experience with us. A couple weeks ago, we were putting in an offer, and I asked the agent, like, what are you guys expecting, right? This and that. He threw out a number that I thought was a little unreasonable, right? But I told him about the comparable that just sold. Actually, two comparables that sold 2 weeks prior on the same street, same style, same layout house. And they didn't have any idea that those sold. They did, those sold? Like, come on. Like,
Red flag.
That's a red flag, man. You don't know your products around you.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a burning red flag. That's really
That's
bad.
like
That's scorching.
Yeah.
That's a big red flag.
Yeah.
So,
And those are pretty cut and dry comparables. Same street, same layout,
Yeah.
same type of house. You don't get more cut and dry than that.
Mhm.
That's very easy to understand what a home is worth.
Yeah.
If they're sold very, close proximity together to each other in terms of dates. But yeah, you're right. We see that very often.
Very
right?
often.
Yeah.
That was the most
So
recent
that's a bit that the red flag there is realtors that don't know their comparables.
Yeah.
one. Exactly.
Direct comparables.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
big.
Direct. Yeah. And to go back to the buying culture, if I can switch gears, I feel like, and I don't know if you guys have noticed this too, maybe not you so much, Tony, but maybe Mike, the instant information that clients have now, right?
Oh,
Yes.
It's
in all aspects.
in all aspects.
It's the
It's
world we live in.
fantastic though,
Yes, the
right?
world
Like
we
it's
live in.
great that, clients can see so much more now than what they used to be able to see just, with an MLS listing on Realtor. There's oftentimes clients will message me, 30 minutes of properties on the market. They get a notification on their phone. They might know that property's on the market quicker than I do, right? Which is great. But it also, that being said, there's another side to that says, because of that instant technology, that instant information in your hands, people think things happen instantly, right? So if a property sits on the market for 20, 30 days, a lot of people think it's stigmatized and maybe might think, well, why is it on the market so long? It's priced too high. It shouldn't be on the market for 20 days, 30
Something's wrong
days.
with that.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with it, but that's not always the case.
Because they're so used to, I think, if I can interject, they are so used to those times where things were flying off the shelf.
Yeah.
Right before you even put the for sale sign, it's gone. Right, like,
Yeah.
And it's same with like the rates. The people are used to 2% or 1%, and now it's, oh wow. There was a period I had one client when rates were starting their elevation at 3.84 on a 5-year fix, and they were like, "That's too high. It's too high." And then 2 weeks ago, they're calling me because they're like, "Oh, I got to hang on to this rate." They had some changes in their setup, and they're, "I got to hang on to this rate." People are used to certain things,
Yeah.
right? And they don't realize a good deal when it's in front of them at times, or they're just, the culture has just now become so,
Yeah.
right, where the instant gratification, instant access to information, which could be a plus. It's definitely a plus, right, in all aspects, if it's used correctly and to someone's advantage. But
If it's interpreted
correctly,
keyword of
that's
the day.
keyword. Oh,
Yeah.
that's very good.
Keyword of the day.
Interpreted, right? You can't leave it to interpretation. So
No.
speaking of interpretation, right, the interpretation now is that, in my opinion, right, some may disagree, is that a realtor is more valuable than ever. That's my opinion, because there's so much information that needs to be interpreted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So like a realtor needs to help you interpret that and make sure that, the culture is educated.
Yeah, because you're looking at things for face value is very, it could become a slippery slope, right?
Yeah, as Lou said, like, or we have clients that come up to us, they see a house that's been listed for 30 days and they're like freaking out. We tell them it's a good property to look into, and they're like, no, something's
Something's
wrong.
off.
Got to
It's
be something
worth
wrong
too
with
much.
it,
To-
of course.
they
And,
want
and
to-
in reality, the right buyer just hasn't come across the table yet,
Yeah.
right? And it's not
So-
like, yes, there's instant information, but you're buying a home here. You're purchasing either an investment or a first-time home or an upsize or a down, whatever the case may be, is the biggest purchase you're going to make. So people like to think about it, which is fantastic. People should be thinking about it. But in essence, if people are thinking about it, it does take time for things to happen, right? And then again, it all depends on the market scenarios. Are we in a buyer? Are we in a seller's market? Are we in a balanced market? Those play big factors into these things, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of times where, we're in a balanced market. Patience is a virtue. At the end of the day, patience will prevail. And if you do hold firm, sometimes it's worth it, but it all depends. Again, unique scenarios. Are you priced right? Are you showcasing your property right? Are you advertising your property right? Are you attracting the right buyers? There's many factors that go into this. But I think the thing we really want to touch upon was that instant information with people, and not that gratification, but that hope that things should happen instantly, right? It's not always the case, especially not in real estate. So I would say take that with a grain of salt. When you see properties on the market for 30 days, that doesn't mean it's stigmatized or something's wrong with it. It just means that the right guy or the right woman or the right family hasn't come across that property yet.
Of course. Yeah. In terms of like touching on that instant, right, information, with the age of social media and everything being one click away, and news being pushed towards people. If people are set a couple settings in there, or like a couple pictures, their algorithm changes and information will get pushed to them even quicker when it comes to mortgage news, or it comes to real estate news. So that's something that everybody needs to be cognizant of in this market, for sure, right? That and us as realtors and as mortgage brokers, we need to be aware of this, and we need to be on it, right, and be able to provide that information too, and understand that people are coming to us with information as well, right? And we have to understand that people are coming to us who are more and more educated as the days go on,
which is great. Yeah, but we need to, in turn, this brings us to the next part of the episode. We need to, in turn, make sure we're understanding what they're saying, and we're asking the right questions for them, right? As realtors and as mortgage brokers. And questions like, let's say, I'll start off with you, Mike, and then we'll segue to some questions that mortgage brokers should be asking. But if we're working with a buying party or a selling party, what questions should we as the agent be asking the other party, whether it's a buying realtor or a selling realtor? You can take it any way you want, really.
Yeah. So like if you're looking to buy, right? Like a good question that a lot of clients will know about is like irrevocable periods. Like what is a good irrevocable? Now, obviously it depends on the market and what's going on with the individual property. If there's other multiple offers, but there's a time to accept the offer, right? Irrevocable.
That's just
this
to
could be,
clarify for the people who don't know what
Yeah.
irrevocable is.
you can put a 1 hour irrevocable. It means they have 1 hour to make a decision. You can do a 12 hour, you can do 24, right?
It's like an expiry date and time.
Exactly.
You can do
of your
anything you
offer.
want,
Yeah.
really. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's something that I think as realtors, you need to be like, that's a question that they might not know. Like as a client, you might not know. That's something that a realtor should be talking to them. Like, let's do this strategy. We should give them 24 hours because our offer is very strong. And if you give them like a confidence of like, here's a high number, here's a high number on your property.
Sit on it. Think about it.
Like
Go
you're not
for it.
gonna,
You're
you
not gonna
probably
get
not
mad
gonna,
at
yeah, exactly. You got it.
Yeah.
So you want to do a long period.
Yeah.
As opposed to a short.
Yeah. And like you said,
But-
every scenario is different, right?
Yes, exactly.
But that's a great one. And that's a conversation we like to have with our clients before we even get to that process. So, because sometimes when an offer comes in, you're saying, like, you'll say to a client, oh, we have, 6 hours irrevocable. And they're saying, what does that even mean? I don't understand what that means. And you have to explain it. So it's a conversation to have before offers come in. Hey, when we get an offer for your property, this is what it's going to look like, and these are the scenarios that we're going to have to deal with. So we need to be ready before we get that offer, so that when it comes in, we already know what to expect and how to go about it. I think that's incredibly important.
Even
Absolutely.
a simple thing as timing of when to put in the offer.
Yeah.
Like you want to buy a house with me, and you go, okay, I want to offer $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay, when do you want to do? You want to do it 2 o'clock or you want to do it at midnight? Like those are little things. Like I would tell you, okay, you want to put in this offer. Let's say if it's noon right now, we'll put it in at 1 o'clock and we'll give them 24 hours. Like you don't want to put it in at an inconvenient time as well, right?
Yeah. You got to remember, like you said, you're trying to work with people here, right?
Yeah.
It's people working with people. We're trying to find a happy medium here, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So timing is key, and just overall being aware of the process.
Yeah.
Right. Knowing all of the pieces and how they fall and how they lie and how to make them fall in your favor.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very important. Those
And-
things need to be considered.
And then we turn to you and ask you that same question in relation to mortgage brokers, right? What should a good mortgage broker be asking their clients, when somebody approaches you?
Well, there's one of the big things that some people forget to ask is, long-term plans for the property that's being purchased, right? So we had one scenario was one of you guys' closings actually, that the plan was to rent the property, right? But when the property was originally purchased, that rent was going to be covering mortgage payment,
Okay.
right? But with mortgage payments going up, mortgage rates going up, the mortgage payment went up, and it wasn't going to cash flow. And in terms of that shortfall being available to cover, it wasn't there. Like that was not an option. There was never that option. So based off of that, we went variable 100% because if the opportunity arose for them to offload the property, the penalty would be nominal, right? And they weren't and this was strictly investment. There was no intention to get into another property or port the mortgage somewhere else. So we just went with the variable product, and it was able to the person was able to minimize their costs for relinquishing the property afterwards, right? They still made, but their damage for not staying in the property was minimal because they didn't go fixed. So asking those questions about the intention with the property, of course, we got to know: is someone going to be living there, renting there? How long you want to hang on to it for, right? What's your 1 to 2 year plan? What's your 5-year plan, right? If someone's buying a forever home and they don't have zero intentions of moving, maybe we're going to go with a different product, right? A longer term is favorable to them, right? Especially if we're in a stable market with the rates. So asking those types of questions are really important. And then of course, if there's any hiccups on the credit bureau, that's something we want to be aware of from the beginning.
Prior.
Right? Is there prior bankruptcy, consumer proposals, those types of
Absolutely.
things?
Yeah.
We want to know now,
Yeah,
not once.
not in the 11th hour,
Yeah,
right?
we pull credit. We'd rather know in advance, and I always like to go over what current liabilities that client has
Yeah,
prior to pulling credit, so that when I do pull credit, if it doesn't match, I can then go back to the client and be like, hey, do you still have this credit card from Home Depot or from Canadian Tire, or do you still owe this car? Or there's it says you got a mortgage on this property, and if there's discrepancies there, from what they told me originally, then that tells me a little bit about the client, or it tells me that there's something that needs to be resolved
yeah.
from Equifax and whatnot.
And I'm
Mhm.
sure when clients come to you for the first time, they're probably the first question they ask you is fixed or variable, right? Or am I
It's
wrong?
one of the it's up there. It's up there. When a client is, and this goes back to your original comment, like people know more and more like about rates. Like like people are more educated now in 2024 than they've ever been. Right? There's so much access to information. People can, find out about mortgages while they're, watching TV, or while
Mhm.
they're, on the John, like, or
Mhm.
what people do it when they're on a train ride. Like they're learning about the mortgage industry, and that's why our mortgage brokers have become more popular in Canada.
Yeah.
Right? Like it used to be something that was kind of
Like a faux pas.
stigmatized, and or people were like, oh, only if you have low credit you go to a mortgage broker, or only if you can't get approved at a bank you go to a mortgage
But
broker.
people are learning that
Right?
that's not
But
the
people are
case.
learning that it's just a smart play because you get more options, right? So the mortgage broker channel has blown up, right? And we have a much bigger piece of the pie than we did 2 years ago, or 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, because the consumer is becoming a lot more educated and
Yeah.
utilizing the broker channel to get
Mhm.
the best product for them, right? So
It's also like time
Yeah.
consumption too. Like you go into Tony,
Absolutely.
for example, you do all the legwork in terms of going to all the banks, as opposed to I would have to go individually to TD, Scotia,
Appointments.
BMO.
And now BMO,
And
you
now
can go to
BMO.
BMO now on
Yeah.
the broker channel, right? You can't go to HSBC anymore.
Yes.
They don't exist. RBC bought them out, but now you can even go to BMO in the broker channel. So
Yep.
lots of options. Brokers are becoming a much more popular option for everybody. I personally think, if it's not me, which you should be using me, but if you're not, you definitely utilizing the service of a mortgage broker
Yeah.
to ensure you're getting the best possible product for you, because we ask those questions, we find those things out in advance for
Yeah.
you. And so now I'm going to flip it back to you guys. Now, what should you be? What should a buyer or seller be asking you as realtors, right, to ensure that you're doing the best service for them? Is there anything that in particular, like those types of, like you said, what type of things should a person be looking for in a realtor?
Yeah.
Essentially, is what I'm asking.
Mhm.
Yeah. And absolutely. I'll touch on the selling side, and maybe Mike, you'll touch on the buying side
Okay.
once I'm done. But when you're selling your house, like there's questions that need to be asked to a realtor. And again, you have instant access to information, so you can find out what kind of questions you ask or to ask. But some of the most important questions is as basic as this sounds, what are you going to do for me, right? What's that realtor going to do? Are you going to list my house on MLS and just book appointments and bring me an offer and let me know that, we can maybe, get a little bit more out of whoever's bringing an offer? Like, is it that basic, or is there another deeper level to it? And every agent is different. You'll notice once you speak to them that every agent offers different services. I can only speak to myself and Mike, obviously. We offer a full service real estate, I guess you could say, marketing plan when it comes to selling somebody's house. So that means we do take care of the photos, we do take care of the video, we take care of the drone, the square footage of a house, the floor plans, we take care of the staging. If a home needs to be cleaned, we take care of the cleaning of a home, minor improvements. There's a full service that we offer that encompasses what we're going to do for you, because we want, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we take everything off of your hands to make you have the only obligation to understand if the price that you're getting for your house is what you need to sell, and if it's good or not, right? We don't want to be stressing our clients out with getting the house ready, minor improvements, cleaning, making sure all the kids' toys are out of a room or whatever,
Yeah,
decluttering,
yeah.
whatever the case may be. We want to make sure we take that burden off our clients and we have their brains solely thinking on what exactly they need to make sure that they're safe and stable with the sale of their home.
Mhm.
And it goes beyond just listing on MLS. You will see a lot of realtors that just list on MLS. And this, again, it's not to bash anybody, but you'll see a lot of realtors list on MLS. You'll call
Cell
them.
phone pictures.
Yeah, cell phone pictures. Those are the best. Yeah. And you'll see that in like $2 million properties. Even it doesn't matter
That
what your
shouldn't happen
property is
at
worth.
all.
Doesn't matter. You don't
Your
do
property
that.
can be
You
worth
don't do
100
that.
grand. You don't do that because you're not showcasing it properly,
You just
right?
don't do that.
And it's beyond just cell phone pictures, right? If your realtor is taking cell phone pictures of your property, this could definitely be a red
Yeah,
flag.
I was about to say that's a red
It's
But
flag.
if your
flag.
realtor is taking cell phone pictures of your property, ask yourself this question: do they care about what you sell for?
Yeah.
Do they really have your best interest in mind?
Mhm.
Clearly, it's a no.
Yeah.
Because if cell phone pictures are going up, then we have bigger problems, right?
100%.
And at the end of the day, you do get what you pay for. So you might be saving with the
Yeah,
realtor
maybe
that you're
those are
getting.
those.
Those discount realtors, like
discount
whatever the
realtors.
case, to each their own. I'm not judging at all, but you get what you
Sounds
pay
like you're
for.
judging. I'm
And
joking.
I am judging it. And in this market, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, you might pay another realtor 1% less. Let's call it $10,000 on a $1 million home, but with the full service, you might be getting 30, 40, 50 grand more when you sell your house. So where are you really losing here, right?
Yeah.
Right.
How about on the buying side?
On the buying side,
Yeah, on the buying side, like a good question I think that gets overlooked is the rental items on homes.
Oh,
Clients don't really know about it either.
yeah, that's
but
always in the fine print.
especially first time buyers.
yeah, they might not know. Like usually the heat pump, that's in there.
The hot water rental,
The
yeah.
hot water, that's like always in there, right?
Yeah.
But for
That's
example,
$50, $80 a month.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, yeah.
that's
I hope-
crazy. That's a
yeah, I've never seen, the most I've seen is $62 so far.
Pay $83 a month.
Come on.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
$83.
No, you must have a water softener.
There's
there or
got to be
something.
something.
With a water softener.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
With a
There you
water
go. There you go.
softener.
Okay, hey, you got to be a little
Hey.
bit more. Hey,
Hey,
give us the facts.
you
Yeah.
see, you asked the right question.
There we go.
See that?
See,
You
there
see?
must
Did
be a
it? You see
water
what she
softener.
did there?
Always a couple steps.
I don't
ahead.
take it at face value.
No, always a couple
Hire
steps
me.
ahead.
No.
Yeah, to prove that they ask questions. These guys, they're good. So
But
continue.
That's a perfect example. Is like the water softener. Clients don't know about that. They don't know that that is actually an item that can be rented.
Yeah.
And these companies, like such as Reliance, is where you get a water softener
Reliance Home Comfort.
from. Those
Okay.
contracts are terrible.
Oh,
Yeah,
like
they're forever.
you have no idea.
They're forever
So-
rentals.
I might ask the other agent, what is it? How much is it per month? $30 a month. Okay. My client might be happy with that.
Yeah.
But when they buy the house and they actually look at the contract, it's like a 25-year contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At $30 a month or $35 a month. And if you want to cancel it,
You gotta
it's
buy
like $2,000.
Yeah,
It's
you
like,
gotta buy out the entirety of it.
it's a scam.
It's a scam.
It's
Let's say.
100%
We were
a
talking
scam.
about this the other
Excellent
day.
scam.
It's a scam.
Excellent
Yeah.
scam.
We have a client, actually, story time, a little quickly, that quick story. We were under the impression the hot water tank was rented because that's what the MLS listing said. And we got to the offer, we put hot water tank as a rental. That's what the MLS listing said. And then they added AC and furnace after that. So it was like a little, like
Just a little.
kind of like sneaking in there a little bit, right? But in all fairness, I did speak to the agent, and they're great. The agents, they didn't know because the seller didn't disclose that at first.
Yeah.
Which is tough. I mean, you can't really. I mean, you know what I
Can
mean.
you get that
You-
information?
You can't.
As a
You got to
realtor?
ask the questions,
Yeah,
right? You have to ask the
asking
questions.
the right questions.
In turn, we ended up getting almost 10 grand off the property price because of it.
that.
Yeah, so it worked out for us.
Mhm.
But again, on the other side, if we ask those questions, it's important. Again, no fault to those agents; they're great guys. But at the same time, diligence.
Yeah.
That's all it is, right?
It
Diligence.
happens, and you got to stay on top of it. It's our
Yeah.
responsibility to be on
Yeah.
it, right? And
We were
that's
able-
why we ask those
We
questions.
were able to negotiate a deal that worked for everybody at the end of it. But again, it's a hiccup that you don't want to run into.
Yeah.
Especially when you're negotiating on a property for thousands and thousands of dollars, you don't want to run into those hiccups ever, right?
100%.
Yeah. Sorry, I think I cut you off. Were you saying something?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no. What I was gonna say is on our end, in terms of the types of questions we need to be asking on behalf of our clients.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm asking myself the
Good
same questions. But essentially, what we would want to ensure is certain things like portability, transferability
Yeah.
of a mortgage. Right. These are very important factors that are tied to mortgage products. Right. And so, what are the early repayment allowances? Like how much of a prepayment privilege do you have? Or is there an early repayment penalty on that mortgage? And that goes back to our original intentions on the property, that we have those discussions with the client in advance, right? Then we can take that information, and even though a lender may have an incredible rate, right, this person, intends to make a move in the next little while, and this is a non-portable mortgage. So unfortunately, it doesn't suit the client.
Sometimes it's not always about the best rate.
Yeah, it's always about suitability, right? It's always about meeting the client's needs, right? And certain lenders have lending policies that are just very stringent, and it is what it is, and there's no breaking it, right? And that's typically what you find on the A side. So in terms of, tying all of this in, mortgage broker popularity increasing and why, right? And it's our options that we have accessible to us, and our ability to tailor products towards our clients' needs. So you can have a client, and this is, I guess a good story, right? For story time, I had a client who, high net worth client, very successful entrepreneur, able to, probably purchase anything accessible to him, all right, if need be. However, they wanted to get a loan because that's what successful people do, right? They make moves based off of equity and using the bank's money. So this particular client had everything in terms of investments and whatnot with one of our Schedule A banks, but this particular client wanted to get a loan on a property that was in a rural area, okay, and it was being used for commercial. It was renting it out commercially, getting great returns, but based off certain lending policies, this Schedule A bank could not loan on that property.
Wow.
At all.
And he has everything.
And he's got everything under the sun, like anything that you needed was there. Incredible. The property was going to be paid off by this renter in like 5 to 10 years.
Wow.
That's
right. Like that's how
return.
much rental income was coming in. It's a very great investment, but they wouldn't let him borrow from that property. Right. They wouldn't he had bought this property out, outright. So there's no mortgage on the property. He wanted to put a mortgage on there to,
let him.
to get some cash flow. And it wasn't allowed. What did we do? He came to me. He had been dealing with the Schedule A bank for 3 months. Okay. Spend all kinds of money on different, appraisals, environmentals, testing, all these different things. Within 5 days, it was 3 days. On the 5th day, we actually were able to, execute and get him the money he needed on the private side. Okay, so different lending policies that that lenders have are accessible through different lenders that mortgage brokers have access to, right? So coming to the mortgage broker side allows you that opportunity to get the product you need. It's all about us saying, hey, lender A, lender B, lender C, all the way to Z and infinity and beyond in terms of lenders we have. What can you lend on? This is my products and my clients' needs. Can you lend on this this property? Can you get them what they need? Right. That's the type of questions that we're always asking on your behalf.
Yeah.
Right. So it's very, very.
You're giving options.
Yeah, it's an abundance of options.
You're doing yourself a disservice if you're not giving yourself options. Let's be real, right? When you go buy a car, it's the exact same thing.
Yeah, before,
did we?
Yeah, I think
okay,
we used
let's
the
talk
same
about it
example.
again.
No, it's because it's the
when
example.
you go buy a car, you're not going to one dealer.
Yeah.
You shouldn't, at least. You're going to a few.
Yeah.
Whether even if it's 2 Hondas or 2 Volkswagens or 2 Audis, whatever the case may be, you should go to a couple because not all are cut and dry, right?
Yeah.
You might be getting different incentives and different deals, different places.
People do this with their cell phone plan.
Yeah.
People will go to Rogers, Telus, Bell, Wind Mobile,
Kudo.
Freedom, Kudo, Virgin. For a cell phone, you're paying $100 a month, $50 a month, $80 a month. You're not doing that when you're going to be making your biggest purchase of your life.
And that's what a broker can do. They can go to each.
We do that on your behalf. People go, oh, my mom and dad banked with TD, with RBC. I'm just going to go there.
It's different.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's way different. You can't.
Times are changing.
Yeah. And people are becoming way more open to it, though. That's what we're talking about.
Do you think it's because they think they have to pay you? I know we probably talked about this in a previous.
It's part of it. It's that previous notion that you only go to a mortgage broker if you're in dire straits, right? And there is times when you do have to pay a broker fee because
but not all the time.
We need to get compensated in some sort of way. But it's not when we're bringing you to an A bank, they're paying us. right, for bringing you there, right? So it's
no money out of your
no
pocket.
money out of
Yeah.
your pocket, just more savings, right? Because
Yeah.
we're making sure that you're not overpaying
Yeah.
for something that you don't need, right? So that's what's really really important in this regard, because we're always providing options, right?
Yeah.
That's the
I
thing.
think that's
And
what
we're
it
getting
comes
more
down
and
to.
more options. Again, I want to highlight the fact that we're getting BMO, who is a very very competitive big bank, now available on the broker
They're
channel.
probably being pretty aggressive too,
And they're
since they're new to the
very
broker
very
channel.
aggressive with their rates, and
Yeah.
they have cashback incentives,
Nice.
and it's a really really positive thing for the broker channel.
Is that why
Especially
you're wearing blue
after,
today?
yes, it's
BMO blue.
It's the BMO blue.
BMO
BMO blue today, buddy. That's what it's all about.
I say we get to our bottom lines. What do you guys think?
Yes, I
Let's
say
do it.
you lead us.
Me.
Lead us with the bottom line.
okay.
What's your bottom line?
My bottom line is do not think that any question that you have for your realtor is stupid, because there's a lot of times that people won't ask that question, or they'll ask a friend because they don't ask their realtor and sound silly. Ask the question, because it's very important. You're probably going to get an answer that you don't know of, or an answer that's going to open up another question for you. Ask that question. And your realtor should be asking you certain questions to make sure that you guys are, properly, properly protected, I should say. Properly protected and guided, in all of your transactions. So ask those questions. Don't be afraid to ask those questions.
Miami Mike.
Yeah. It was pretty much the same bottom line as Lou's, which is, as a realtor, don't just assume your clients know everything. Like, don't let them.
When you assume,
You know what happens?
You make an ass.
You,
you,
and me.
I mean,
Yeah,
him,
it's not
Miami Mike. Yeah. So
don't upset
That's-
Miami Mike.
good. No. 007.
that's pretty much what it is. Like, just, you can't assume as a realtor that they're gonna know everything.
Yeah.
You have to be able to just, and it goes on what you were talking about. Even though they're well educated,
Mm-hmm.
right? This
More
makes it even
access,
worse. They
yeah.
have more access, and they're gonna maybe hit you with facts that you don't even know.
Yeah.
But just don't assume, like, they're not going to be offended by them. Just give them the knowledge that they need to make the accurate choice.
100%.
And yourself?
I don't get a nickname, no? Tony
the Tiger.
BMO Blue.
Tony Blue.
Yeah, Tony
BMO
Blue. Wow.
I think that my bottom line is, we do have all of these options from the stories you heard today, from experiences, and then I'm presenting to you the fact that we have even another Schedule A bank in the broker channel. Is brokers are something that everybody is a service. Mortgage broker services are something that everybody should be utilizing. Okay, it is not just for people who are low credit score or self-employed. Everybody, A to Z, should be using a mortgage broker, because it's what a intelligent, conscious person would do when it comes to making a huge transaction. Right? Make sure that you have explored all your options and you aren't selling yourself short. And the way you do that is by using a mortgage broker to get you the right product for you. If you could and want to, probably use me.
Tony Talks.
Tony Talks. That might be a good idea. Yeah, Tony Talks. That actually is what it says on my email signature.
Talk
If
with
you want to
Tony
have
on
a meeting,
Tuesdays?
if you want to have a meeting, and you click on the link, Tony Talks.
Tacos with Tony while talking on Tuesday
Yeah, in Miami
in Miami with Mike.
with Mike.
Lou will be here.
You would just be there.
Okay, great. Awesome, guys. That was episode 11, Bottom Line Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Again, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TikTok. We're all over Instagram.
TikTok, Tony TikTok.
Tony TikTok.
That's
You can
it.
we got to make a TikTok, Tony TikTok.
Yeah, that's great.
Find us anywhere. Again, thank you for your feedback. Thank
Yeah.
you for your comments, your likes, your shares.
Much
We
appreciated.
Keep submitting the
appreciate
red
it.
flags.
We bring it in. Yeah, keep sending red flags. We bring it into the
We love it.
episodes. And again, just thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Appreciate it. Take care. Ciao.
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 Say